What's up, everybody? It's Matt here with Tanks Lawn Maintenance. It is currently 7:30 p.m. Sunday evening, March the 30th, 2025th year of our Lord. And I could finally get on here. I want to show y'all the new equipment purchase that I made Monday. It was raining Monday, and it was raining a little too hard to do any work, so that's really the only time that I have to go to my dealership during the growing season is when I get rained out, or if I'm not working on a Friday or Saturday. So just wanted to hop on here while I have the opportunity and do a little walk around with you guys and show you what I bought. But anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna get y'all turned around so we can go around this thing. All right, guys, here it is. This is the 2024 model Walker T23 with the 42-inch cutting deck. I can't really get on this side right here. My garage is jam-packed right now with equipment, but this is the side view of it. It's got the 5-gallon gas tank. It's a 23 horse engine, Kohler command engine on here. 42-inch cutting deck. And right next to the seat right here, while I'm over here, I'll go ahead and show you. You've got your parking brake. You've got your throttle right here. Your forward control. You've got your blade engagement lever right here. Then on this side over here, you've got your throttle, and you've got your choke, you got your ignition, got your oil pressure light, and your temperature light. And you've also got a light switch right here, which I don't have lights on this thing. Then of course you got your voltmeter, and then you've got your hour meter over here. While I'm right here in the front, that way I don't have to keep walking back and forth, but while I'm right here in the front, the way you change the blades and sharpen the blades and scrape decks on this thing, I'm gonna enlarge it just a touch. These red handles right here, you got one right there, and you got one right there. You lift those up, pull them back that way, and then you pull it all the way out as far as you can, and you grab this handle right here. I'll show you. This handle pulls up. You grab that handle right there, and you lift the deck up, and the deck actually pivots right here. It folds up like that, and you take this hanger and you hook it on this latch right here, and everything is right in front of you. You don't have to get a jack or anything like that. You don't have to, sorry guys, but everything is right in front of you, easy to get to. You don't have to break out a mower jack to lift it up to change blades or scrape decks or anything like that. So that aspect of it is pretty easy. And also, while I'm right here, the way you drive this thing, you got your handles right here, but it's not like a typical standard or zero turn where you push the handles forward to go forward. The way you do this, you take your forward control lever right here and you pull this all the way forward. And I'm sure you saw my handles right there. You push that forward control lever all the way forward, or however far forward you want to go to control your speed. And you just hold the handles with these in your fingers right here, and you steer it like this. So that part of it does take some getting used to. It took me about, I don't know, I had a property Monday that I had to bag. The very first property I did Monday that I had to bag, and I learned on that property. So it's not hard to learn. But back here, let me get this thing lifted up so I can show you guys. Just making my way around the machine. Back here, everything is simple to get to. You got your hydro reservoir. You got your hydro filter right here. You got your battery. Got all your belts right here. You got some more belts over here. You've got your air filter right here. You got your engine oil filter down there. You got your engine oil fill neck right here. And the one thing that I do not like about this, you got to lift the hopper up in order to put gas in the gas tank. That part of it sucks. But other than that, can't really complain. But this big hole right here, that's where the grass clippings or leaves or whatever it is you're bagging, that's where it comes out from underneath the deck. And it goes up through this hole right here into the hopper. And once we get around to the back, I will show you how this hopper works. Shut that seat back. Let this hopper down. And also, while we're right here, guys, I want to show you how to dump this hopper when it fills up. This is a 10 bushel hopper, which is quite large. But all you do, you take this handle right here, you lift it straight up and straight back. Okay, now of course you got to open the back, but we're just going to pretend it's open right now. But that's pretty much all there is to it to dump the hopper. Now, back here, the back side of the hopper, you lift that up, and you can see the inside of the hopper right there is where the grass clippings come out, and it oscillates back and forth to fill this hopper up evenly throughout the hopper. And once it is full, you hear that click. That's the sensor that lets you know it's full, and it's a very loud beeping noise that lets you know that it's time to dump the hopper. But here's your filter screen right here. Whenever it starts acting up, you can check that filter screen, make sure it's not clogged up, and it's easy to clean out. But that's pretty much it, guys. You got your anti-turnover or rollover wheel on the back. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell, guys. As far as changing the deck height, let me show you guys real quick. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to get it to where you can. Alright, right here, each one of these holes represents a 1/2 inch. That first one right there is 1.5 inches. The second was 2.5. 3 inches, 3.5. I've got it on 3.5 inches right now because that's the only height I need to get it on and off of my trailer. But I typically cut everything between 2 and 2.5 inches around here. But you got 4 of those pins. You got one there, one here, and one there. You change all 4 of those pins, and it's not as easy as it is on something with a deck lever or something like that, where you can just put a pin in a hole and lift the deck lever up and down. But it's if you have properties you have to bag, it's a pretty even trade-off to save yourself time and energy on bagging properties. But this is pretty much it in a nutshell, guys. The Walker T23 42-inch deck. When I bought this Monday, and I didn't know this until I bought it. Went to my dealership. They had a price on there. I think it was for 16 something or 17 something. I can't remember the exact price, but I didn't know this. But that price is for the tractor only. That did not include the cutting deck. And evidently it's like this at every single Walker authorized dealer. So you have to buy the deck separately, and the deck is $3,500. So just putting that out there so you guys know. Out the door, this thing was $21,000. It's not a cheap piece of equipment. It's a very expensive piece of equipment, but it's something that I had to sit down and look at the numbers. I've been looking at the numbers for 2 years. I actually should have did this last year. I probably could have made a lot more money last year and saved myself a lot of heartache. Ain't no probably to it. I know I could have made a lot more money last year if I had this, but I was just scared to pull the trigger, man. I mean, $21,000 for a mower. Sometimes that number can be overwhelming, but decided to go ahead and pull the trigger. And it's like my buddy Buster Davis down at New Hope Cut says, I should have had this thing bought and paid for by Christmas. But you know, that's how it is when you're scared to pull the trigger and spend money in your business, guys. So keep that in mind. You know, you got to spend money to make money, but this is a machine. I am 100% positive that this machine can make me around $50,000 this year alone with this machine alone. So it will definitely pay for itself this year and then some. But it's also something that if you're gonna make a purchase like this, guys, you need to sit down and look at your numbers, and you need to look at your properties as well. And you also need to look at your area that you're servicing. And you need to ask yourself, would it be worth it for you to go out and buy a machine like this? If you don't have a lot of properties that are bagging properties, I wouldn't make a purchase like this. And also something you've got to think about too is this thing is a legitimate vacuum cleaner. It does not leave anything behind. So you got to make sure there's no sticks on the property, and you got to make sure there's no pine cones or anything like that on the property, because anything it sucks up can damage that blower. So just something to think about, guys. But for me and my business, I've been needing one for a while, and I should have bought it last year at the beginning of the year like I wanted to, but you know, my wife and I, we were scared to death. My wife, she had her hand in the business still, and she was scared to death. I was scared to death to do that, and plus it was a situation where I had just left my full-time job and went full-time into my business at the beginning of last growing season. So yeah, I wasn't willing to go out and drop a large amount of money like that. But this year's another story. I'm picking up high-end properties left and right, and this thing should pay for itself very quickly. But as far as having something to do with the clippings, that's something you need to figure out beforehand. There's several ways you can go about doing it. You can either have a place you can dump on site, which a lot of my properties do. I'm gonna say probably about 30 or 40% of the properties that I service now are bagging properties, and I'm steadily picking up new ones. But probably, I don't know, probably 15 or 20% of those properties have a spot where I can dump on site. Like everything I have tomorrow, I can dump it on site. And but if you don't have a spot you can dump on site, you need to think about the cost. You know, going to the dump, dumping it, how much is that going to cost you? How much time is that going to cost you? Do you have a place to store the grass clippings? Something to think about is that is a 10 bushel hopper, and a 10 bushel hopper is very large. I mean, you think about it, guys, the Toro Turfmaster, that's a I can't remember if that's a 2 bushel or a 4 bushel hopper, but you're talking about that versus that. And I can mow an entire probably 8 to a quarter acre lot that is well maintained with that and not have to dump the bag. And I could probably go a whole property and then some and not have to dump the bag. This right here is 4 or 5 times the size of that Toro bag. So that's something to think about. You can fit a lot more grass clippings in that, which means there's less dumping. And also, you've got to be able to transport those clippings, like I said, guys. What are you going to do? Do you have a plan for that? Do you have a dump bed insert? Do you have a tarp that you can throw down in the bed of your truck? Do you use the bed of your truck for anything other than debris? All that is something to think about. And if you do use your dump bed, do you have room on your trailer? You got to have room, and you got to have a plan before you buy something like this. The way I do it is, I'm gonna buy, or not gonna buy, I have a tarp that I throw down in the bed of my truck, and I did it all last week and it worked great. I only had to dump it once. I threw down the tarp in the bed of my truck, and that I can actually dump that hopper in the bed of my truck 4 times. And some of it has to go up under my toolbox, but it is what it is, you know, until I get something better. But the way I do it is I lift up the back of that hopper and I wipe all the grass clippings into those dump barrels right there that you see leaned up against that right stander right there, and then I dump those barrels into the bed of my truck on top of that tarp. And so far so good. I have no complaints, but I do want to be a little more efficient. These machines, you can get them with a high dump where you can dump them straight into the bed of your truck. You lift it straight up in the air and it dumps on its own. It's automated. That cost an extra $5 or $6 grand. So that's something to think about too, guys. But yeah, guys, before you make a purchase like this, you've got to make sure A, you can justify it, and B, you got to have something to do with the clippings. But also something to think about too is I have free dumping. I can go to my mother-in-law's house and dump it all I want for free. And also my dump is very cheap, man. It's very, very cheap. It's a very good price for my dump. And it's less than 20 bucks a ton. So, but yeah, the only issue I'm faced with right now is my trailer. I have a 6.5 by 10 foot trailer. And as you see, I have the walker. I have a 61-inch Stander X right and a 36-inch right standard intensity, and I also have the 30-inch Toro Turfmaster. And I'd have two properties that I still use that push mower on. One of them is because the man wants his entire property push mowed. He pays me a pretty penny for it. And the other one is because I can't even fit the 36 in their backyard because there's an air conditioner in the way. So yeah, the push mower does get used. I have 4 mowers that I still use, but the problem that I'm faced with right now is I can only fit 2 mowers at a time on my trailer. So normally what I have is all week last week I had the walker and the 36 on the trailer. First thing in the morning, I would knock out all of my bagging properties, all of them, and then I would come back and drop the walker off, keep the 36 on the trailer, and pick up the 61, and if I needed the Toro, I would pick it up as well. But yeah, so that's the dilemma I'm faced with right now. But that's a problem that should be solved by the middle of the summer. Hopefully by the end of May, that issue will be resolved. But let me get y'all turned back around. That's the mower right there, guys. That's it in a nutshell. But just want to get y'all turned back around so y'all can see my pretty face. I just wanted to show y'all that. I've been talking about it all week long, that I made a purchase, and just didn't have time to do a walk around with you guys. My initial review on that, I'm gonna do a 20-hour review, and then I'll probably do a 100-hour review when it comes time for it. But my first impressions of that mower is it's a funny looking little mower. It really is. But I'm very impressed with it. For what it is, it's not a fast mower. It's meant to take it nice and slow on lawns. But I'm telling you right now, I have never seen a mower leave a cut like that. I haven't. I mean, I cut my yard with it. I've cut my yard with it twice already. And that's how much I love the cut quality on that mower. But the ground speed is not very fast. I want to say it's 6.5 miles an hour, and which isn't very fast, but you make up for that in the amount of times you have to dump when you're bagging, and you also make up for that at the end of the day with the energy you save by not having to push a push mower around the yard. But that's really the only con to it, is the speed. And I told you to fill up the gas tank, you've got to lift the hopper up, and that hopper, it gets heavy when it's full. It does. But that's really the only con I have to it. But I'm impressed with it. I like it. There is a learning curve. It took me quite a while on my first property because I was taking it nice and slow. I didn't want to screw anything up. And you got to be careful with this mower, guys. You've got a huge tail swing on the back, and you can knock a mailbox off a post. You can knock the siding off of somebody's house, or tear up a slat on a privacy fence, or you could tear up the hopper by hitting something with the hopper. But you gotta think about that. And also driving one-handed, and in order to turn, you're pulling each depending on which direction you're going, you're pulling you're having to pull that lever back. So you're not mashing the levers forward like you would on a zero turn or a standard. So there is a learning curve. It does take some getting used to, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you I've mastered it. I've only had a week, but I am a lot quicker on it now than what I was when I first got it. I've mowed, I think I've got right at 6 hours on it, just like 5.7 hours that I've got on it, and it had 0 hours when I first bought it. So after 100 hours, my dealership told me to bring it in, and they would do a hydro. They would do a hydro service on it. That is the only break-in that it needs. They said there is no break-in on the oil, for no break-in like 20-hour oil change that you would normally do on a right stander or something like that. Said there is none of that. Change the oil every 300 hours instead of 100 hours. So I do like that. It's going to save me money on maintenance. And I do like the fact that I can just lift the deck up and everything's right there in my face when it comes to changing blades and scraping decks and stuff like that, and sharpening blades. So, but yeah, guys, I've been I started my business in December of 2021, and you know, that following year, I've always seen and heard about the Walker mowers. I've never really put a whole lot of thought into it until I started doing this for a living. But started the business in December of 21 with a gigantic leaf cleanup, and then that following spring, people were asking me I was taking on anything and everything to try to generate revenue, and picked up a few customers that needed to be bagged, and I found out real quick that I needed to figure something out. I moved from the push mower with a bagger on it, the Toro 21, or not Toro, the Troy-Bilt 21-inch push mower with a bagger on there. I moved from that to a grass catcher, a side bagger for the sit-down machine I had at the time, and it did a pretty good job. And then I got rid of that machine and bought the Wright Standers, the 2 Wright Standers, and then Wright has their own grass catcher, the grass gobbler, and the problem with that is that the whole thing is basically wire mesh, and it throws grass everywhere. Not only does it throw it on you, but it also leaves a lot of grass on the yard. It's great for leaf cleanups, but not for bagging grass. So had to figure something out, man, because I was missing out on a lot of money, and it took me 4 years to finally pull the trigger on this, and this is something I've been waiting for 4 years. But now, my next big purchase, I've got to get a trailer. I'm going to get a long bed truck, and I'm going to get a dump bed insert for this as well, to make things as efficiently as I possibly can. And after I get all that, I will probably, if this machine is still running by then, hopefully it will be, but I will have a high dump installer on it. And if it's not running by then, I will buy a new one, and when I do buy it, I will have a high dump installed on that one. So yeah, but that's the new purchase I've been talking about, guys, and I'm super excited about it. It's gonna make my life a lot easier. It made my life a lot easier this past week, man. It really did. But this thing leaves nothing behind too, and it leaves that absolute amazing cut. And something I forgot to tell you guys is the deck kind of swivels back and forth and up and down and things like that with the lay of the land. So if you have some dips in the property or some rises in the property, or if the property is just uneven or bumpy, the deck hugs to it. You get what I'm saying? It does not scalp and it does not hover. That's a plus, man. It really is. And that's part of the cut quality that it leaves. But anyway, guys, that's it in a nutshell. Just wanted to show that to you, and I'm excited about it, man. But I've went on enough about it. I'm going to hop off here and get ready for the week tomorrow, guys. It's supposed to be done raining for the night, but I think it's supposed to rain again in the morning. We'll see. You know, that's something that you make a decision on at the last possible second. But hey, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this past weekend, and all you new guys, man, I hope y'all got out there and crushed it this weekend, and all you weekend warriors out there. But the rest of y'all, man, I hope y'all have an amazing week coming up, and I will catch y'all on the next video. But until then, y'all keep cutting that grass and keep making that money. Holla at y'all. Bye.